Well, recently, some movie producers and casting directors were called out on social media by some budding actresses for demanding sex to cast them for roles. Now, this has sparked reactions from Nigerians within and outside the film industry who mostly condemned it. Sex for favors is an age-long problem in schools, the labor market, as well as the music and movie industry, but has been blown into public space because more people are speaking out. Well, movie producer and CEO Point Blank Media, THEOPHILUS is here with me in the studio to discuss this very, for me, troubling topic, sex for all. The concept, almost sounds appalling because you would expect that in the 21st century. The social media has created that window for everyone to showcase their talent and not necessarily beg for favors.
Yes, that's true. The social media has become a platform for the showcase of talent. But you see, roles in movies is a matter of status, something that comes with economic benefits immediately, and something that propels you directly onto the center stage. And so, depending on the budget, depending on the movie that is being made, the level of desperation of actors and actresses differs. And producers and directors and crew members that do not have scruples take advantage of the desperation of the young ones, including some very popular ones and celebrities. Wow. Probably they've been out of job for too long.
And they need to do
something. They need to get a job to relaunch them. Some actors are celebrities, but in the last 5 years, they've not played a major role. And so this is a social interaction between people and two things: desperation for relaunch and desperation for a big launch.
But this is an age-long problem, just like the producer said. It's an age-long problem that we've had to deal with in the Nollywood.
Yes.
But how do you think the big wigs are taking this and addressing this issue? Because it does not, portray us in a good light when it comes to the foreign scene.
Well, the foreign scene has the same problem. Recently, we had a big director, big movie executive jailed. We've had popular stars who have the privileges of working with actors jailed. So it's a human phenomenon. It is not an exclusively local problem. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is the weakness of the human system that he who is in power tends to take advantage of the weak. And that is the crux of the matter. It means that we need to go to the very foundation of our own development, our own upbringing, so that we change from people who oppress the other with power. Because what you see here is a power play. Someone is the boss, he employs people, he takes advantage of the applicants. Someone is in the university, he's a lecturer and is the one lecturing, holding them, he takes advantage of the students. So it's not just a Nollywood situation, but in Nollywood, we frown at this, and recently we have taken drastic actions at those people that were called out. In many platforms of Nollywood, we were very frank, very hard. Some were removed from associations so that they can go and correct their ways. So Nollywood is doing as much as possible to ensure that whoever is found, we cannot eradicate it, because most of these interactions are private interactions. Yeah. Some of the ladies who are coming out today probably did not get what they wanted. Some will not come out if indeed they were delivered of the promise made to them.
Exactly.
So I feel that associations' moral code must be raised, and there must be committees to act swiftly. But so far, I must commend a lot of these sectors. Lots have happened, and the recent people that were called out, I think they felt the heat for the first time.
Well, some persons that, just like you said, some persons that probably are not coming out is just because they got the roles.
Some got the benefits.
But you have those who are afraid that they could be blacklisted in the industry. How do you address that?
Well, the Nollywood industry do not have the character of blacklisting those who speak out today. It could be in the past, or a group of caucuses. For example, there are producers who belong to a clique. Their friends might blacklist you, but doesn't mean that the entire Nollywood industry will regard your speaking out as wrong. There are many Nollywood practitioners who were very, very offended. Let's forget about the women directors and producers. We're looking at even men who took this up to the extent that we thought that they were extreme. And so in today's world, where evil is no longer easily covered, let me tell you, evil had been there, evil is there, but there is still a high propensity for evil to be exposed. I think producers must be circumspect and must be careful and stop taking advantage of those who are desperate.
Well, of course, very interesting that Nollywood has, of course, embraced social media, especially with the pandemic. It became like imperative since a lot of persons could not go to sets to get their movies out. And seeing how the Nollywood directors and producers are, throwing the challenge open for people to come up with their skits, post on social media, and see how talented they are. Do you think this will actually be able to stem the tide of the sex for all thingy?
Well, it will help to reduce pandemic, but it will not reduce the pandemic of sex for roles. In fact, the interaction today has become more discreet because we never come together again. And so if you put your talent on social media, and I've seen you, there are still going to be negotiations. The whole thing ends up in the moral and the quality of upbringing and the quality of controls that we have as guilds. The guilds must be more interested in the ethical standing of a producer instead of just throwing and wishing that people will transform overnight. I do not see it happening very, very quickly.
Wow.
I believe it will take some time, but the campaign must continue, that this is a wrong thing to do, and that ethically you could be blacklisted or banned from practicing or from being a member of the guilds. And so we can put you out in the negative. I think if we continue to do that, it will drive fear and reduce the phenomenon.
THEOPHILUS AKATU, thank you so much for your thoughts. Of course, this is disturbing. We hope it ends pretty soon. But just like you said, we may not actually see the end of this because of the human nature. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts on TVC Breakfast.
Joining me on Skype is film producer and director Teco Benson. Teco, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
Great.
Teco, good to see you too, Teco.
All right, Teco, let me start with you here. Recently, there was an interview granted by Yemi Sholade, who is also a filmmaker, one of your colleagues, and he said, if I have to quote him directly, he said that the Nollywood is becoming a haven for cyber criminals and prostitutes. I'm just trying to quote him. I guess he was using it in the context, but from your perspective, what do you tilt towards that, or you debunk, or you disagree with him?
I don't subscribe to that statement. I think it's overbloated.
All right.
He may be making some references, but it's very uncharitable to say it that way. Right. The entire country is actually contaminated right now. Every facet of the society is polluted, and you can see that across board. So Nollywood is not an exception. It's just that is the fact that the most people in the industry are in the public light by virtue of our profession. So whatever you do is seen by the audience. People who are looking at you as their role models. So there are minimum behavioral standards expected of people in this industry. So I know that there are people who are really going off the radar, and that the people bringing the bad names. But I wouldn't subscribe to that statement because it's actually like a blanket statement, and it's not very good.
Okay. THEOPHILUS, let me come to you on this. When it comes to the issue of sex for roles, one would say it's not just in the movie industry.
That's true.
In the school system, where we have the university or tertiary institution system, we have that. Also in so many places and all of that. But give us a scenario. What could lead to the issue of sex for roles?
Well, the first thing...
Or even roles for sex?
Yes, the first thing is desperation.
Okay. On the part
of the person seeking the opportunity.
Okay.
A lot of people do not want to pass through the process. So they offer sex for roles because we think that it's only the directors and the producer who are oppressing. But we also have people who want to get it quick. And so they come in to tempt, to offer sex for roles. On the other hand, there is the oppressive man who has no scruples. This is not the generality of the industry, but there are those who do not have scruples, who take advantage of the desperate ones. So it's a matter of demand and supply, and a human defect that we are confronted in our industry that is prevalent in the entire country, where those in power take advantage of the weak.
Now, Teko, talk to us basically. Theophilus is talking about those who people don't want to go through the process. Now, all of you have come a long way. I watched some of your videos as an actor before you became a director and all of that. Talk to us, as an aspiring actor, for instance, what are those things that you look out for that can make anyone get a role?
Well, like you said, I've been in the industry for 26 years, and I have seen sex for role in the industry. I won't deny that, but like you asked, when you have a script, you have the statistics and the qualifications for all the characters you need in the movie. And these are things you look out for when you're doing audition. All right, that's what we call table casting. For the big players who have made name in the industry, you don't need to subject them to audition. You simply pick them to fit into the characters you have in the script you're doing. And for those people who are new, who are coming into audition, to be auditioned into these roles, some of them come to you a week or 2 days to the audition because they are scared they may not make the audition process. Some of them come to lobby. Some will come and offer you money for the men. Some will offer you favors. Some of the women will come to offer you sex outrightly, because they believe if you have the sexual intercourse with them, your conscience will be captured and you will be compromised and you're going to give them the role. People who are confident, people who qualify, don't necessarily go through that process. It's people that are weak, like Theo pointed out. These are people that are vulnerable. These are people that offer themselves. So for the weak producers who are looking for opportunities, they cash in on that and make sure they take it well before they give these roles. So this is what causes this problem.
I see. All right. Now, Theophilus, the point there is a lot of persons have said that the Nollywood or the movie industry in Nigeria is really porous, where it's not cohesive enough and there is no watertight coordination. Everyone is doing whatever you can do. Yeah. Why is it like that?
Well, that is it's a problem of a creative industry. But there are efforts at organizing Nollywood better. Right. We have a bill that is being proposed. We are hoping that if it is signed, it will give us a semblance of organization. It's called the Mopicon bill. It's going to help us to coordinate better and see that entry barriers are created, or the process of entry into the industry is entry checks. And then people can properly be sanctioned. Guilds can be managed better. But until then, it's a free-for-all, free entry, free exit.
Free-for-all, free entry, free exit, free operation. Teko, what would it take really, besides this bill? Because if the bill is passed into law, it doesn't automatically manufacture that industry. What would it take really when it comes to all of you people who are veterans, actors and producers and directors, like all of you coming together to sit down with all the resources that you need to have? What would it take?
Well, like Theo pointed out, Mopicon seems to be, because for the past 15, 20 years, practitioners have been actually calling for that, and it's been elusive. So, but right now, there's a guild system in Nollywood. We have the Actors Guild of Nigeria, we have Directors Guild of Nigeria, we have Association of Movie Producers, we have National Society of Cinematographers, National Society of Editors, we have the Creative Designers Guild. We have all these operational. They are working, and they all have their own system of ethics in place. But what we lack is an umbrella body that can make us speak with one voice. Because inside the industry, we have different professions. We have people who are makeup artists. We have people who are actors. We have people who are directors. So they have their own internal system, but we don't have an umbrella body. And that is what Mopicon seeks to have, so that it can coordinate all of us and have a proper system of ethics, a proper code for the entire industry to manage what we do. At the moment, like from the point you raised about sexual harassment, a lot of guilds are setting up panels to investigate most of the allegations. Actors Guild, I know, have set up one, and they have strong members for that panel. There's also a WhatsApp group called FINIC. I know they also constituted their own panel to investigate these things and try to bring sanity. So most of us who are members of these groups, we are really not happy with the development because it's giving the industry a bad name. So we are actually coming together, meeting upon meetings, and trying to see how this can be, curtailed. At the moment, people are scared. If you do a kind of meter in the industry now, sex for role is completely minimized because with the allegations flying up and down, a lot of people are so scared. People are not demanding now. People are so scared right now. I must tell you this.
All right. Now, Theophilus, when it comes to those associations, it's like taking a step towards what you want to achieve, but it's not there yet, like you have said. But right now where we are, if you want to check the issue of sex for roles and all of those bribery or lobbying in the way that is not healthy and so on, what are the kind of sanctions and punishments that can be binding enough to act as deterrent?
Well, there is anyone who oppresses a weak person. You cannot describe the kind of punishment that should be enough for him. Okay. Because you are put in a position of strength to lift up the weak. But when you see people who are in position of strength, authority, and power, taking advantage of a weak one and using it to defraud them, because if you take sex from somebody for a role, it's fraud, because the person did not give you on her own volition. For me, they should do more than mere suspension and mere sanctions like you have been blacklisted, because the man still goes out to practice the business, because without your guild, nothing stops him from doing the business. And so the guilds in themselves, they help in terms of blacklisting you, making you look bad in their public eye, but you still have your space. You still call an audition, you still do a production, you can still harass those who come. And so for me, we really need a better organization, because right now it's free association. If I wish to be, if I am not, does not stop me from practicing.
All right, Teko, when it comes to the role of government, what can government do to help in this regard? Because sometimes when we have these challenges, we often call on government to assist here and there.
Well, to me, I think what we need is self-regulation. Government has a limit to what they can do. Right. The industry is private sector driven, and we are matured people, we are moral agents, we make movies to correct societies. So we are not, it's not very good that we are falling into the same thing that we are preaching in the society. Those things we preach against are the same thing we see ourselves falling into. There are people who I call criminals. There are some young boys who carry around scripts from their previous jobs and go around sleeping with different girls, offering them roles that never exist. Some of them also get victims and make them invest in their productions, and all they want is how to sleep with these girls. I know there are criminals like that in the industry. So I'm thinking more of a system the industry can develop that can deal with this situation, because government can only give us enabling environment to operate our business. I don't see how they can regulate sex for all. It's not possible from government quarters. But what Theo is talking about is the Mopicon bill that we are asking for. If it can be in place, there can be proper sanctions. Somebody can be blacklisted, because there's essential operations for the industry if it comes on stream. But for now, because it's lacking, there's no cohesion. There's really a lacuna that is missing. So that's why people are calling government to step in and try and help that body to come in place so that these things can move.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Teko Benson and Theophilus Akatu, movie producers and directors and actors All of you, it's really my pleasure to have you on the program this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.